ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिनि। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणि निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणि। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 15, Verse 26. Tasmat swasthena manasa vimrishya gatimatmanah dvaite dhruvartha vishambham tejo pashamam avisha. Therefore, O King Citraketu, carefully consider the position of the Atma. In other words, try to understand who you are, whether body, mind or soul. Consider where you have come from, where you are going after giving up this body, and why you are under the control of material lamentation. Try to understand your real position in this way, and then you will be able to give up your unnecessary attachment. You will also be able to give up the belief that this material world or anything not directly in touch with service to Krishna is eternal. You will also be able to give up the belief that anything which is not connected with Krishna is eternal. Meaning you will come to understanding that everything material is temporary. Thus you will attain peace, obtain peace. So why are you under the control of material lamentation? Try to understand your real position, and then you will be able to give up your unnecessary attachment, and you will start understanding that the world is, this material world is temporary, and you will obtain peace. So simply by understanding that we are not this body, and things, neither this body nor things connected with this body are permanent, and that today or tomorrow it's all going to go, one will obtain peace. The Krishna consciousness movement is actually endeavoring to bring human society to a sober condition. Because of a misdirected civilization, people are jumping in materialistic life like cats and dogs, performing all sorts of abominable sinful actions and becoming increasingly entangled. The Krishna consciousness movement includes self-realization because one is first directed by Lord Krishna to understand that one is not the body but the owner of the body. So we should understand this. The Krishna conscious movement includes self-realization. Whether some paths like Gnana Yoga is only to achieve self-realization. But Krishna consciousness movement includes self-realization, which means that there are things beyond self-realization, which is to achieve Krishna. When one understands the simple fact, he can direct himself toward the goal of life. Because people are not educated in terms of the goal of life, they are working like mad men and becoming more and more attached to the material atmosphere. They are working like madmen. People in this world, material world, are working like madmen and becoming more and more attached to the material atmosphere. So the more and more we work in this world, more and more we become attached. Especially more and more we work, more and more we get things the way we want. Then more and more we become attached to the material atmosphere. We think that it's like intoxicating. It's like you think, okay, see, I'm working, I'm earning, I'm getting this. So I'll work more, I will earn more, I will get more. And then we get attached to this material atmosphere. So in some sense, material failure is a blessing. If somebody has like mixed material life, it's a blessing. If somebody has very good material life and still they are attached to Krishna, then they are really, really fortunate. Bhagavatam says, saying that if somebody has all this Janma Aishwarya Sutashri, but still not attached to it, then they are very, very fortunate souls. Otherwise, generally, all this Janma Aishwarya Sutashri, our results of our past punya will just make us more and more attached to material atmosphere. The misguided man accepts the material condition as everlasting. One must give up his faith in material things. Look at this. Faith. We have faith in material things. My money is going to protect me. My doctor is going to protect me. My relatives are going to protect me. We have to give up this faith, and also give up attachment to them. Then one will be sober and peaceful. A very, very powerful purport. Simple yet powerful. So just helps, which is why, reading Srila Prabhupada's purports again and again will bring us to the stage of Brahmabhuta, because that's most of his purports bring us up to this level. And then he has also included higher levels of devotion and devotional concepts, which we can understand only when we come to this platform. Na sochati na kankshati. Unfortunately, people don't get here. So they say, okay, Prabhupada has uh, not given everything that is required for us for our spiritual advancement. But that's not true. Because most of the time we are stuck in these things only, coming out of material attachment. So we don't see those various, knowledge that Prabhupada has given about higher stages of bhakti. These are all lower stages, beginning stages. Sri Narada Uvacha Etamantropaniषदं pratīcchā prayatto mama yam dharayan saptatratrād drashta sankarshanam vibhum. The great sage Narada continued, My dear king, attentively receive from me a mantra which is most auspicious. After accepting it from me, in 7 nights you will be able to see the Lord face to face. Amazing. Narada Muni is so merciful. He's giving the mantra by which he's going to see the Lord face to face in 7 nights. Yatpadamulam upasrutya narendra purve sharvadayo brahmamimam vitayam visrujya sadyastadiyam matulanadhikam mahitvam prapur bhavanapi param nachidadupaiti. My dear king, in former days, Lord Shiva and other demigods took shelter of the lotus feet of Sankarshana. Thus they immediately got free from the illusion of duality and achieved unequaled and unsurpassed glories in spiritual life. You will very soon attain that very same position. So, which means that mantra, whatever he was giving, would give him shelter of the lotus feet of Sankarshana. Okay, this ends the 15th chapter. So this 16th chapter titled Citraketu meets the Supreme Lord, meaning that 7 days, whatever Narada Muni had said, that happened. Shri Badarayaniruvacha Atadeva Rishin Rajan Samparetam Nrapatmajam Darshayitveti Hovacha Gnati Nam Anushochatam. Shukadeva Goswami said, My dear King Parikshit, by his mystic power, the great sage Narada brought the dead son into the vision of all the lamenting relatives and then spoke as follows. So along with giving that mantra, or before giving that mantra, King Narada Muni gave one more mercy, so that all the relatives who are lamenting, they can come to the real knowledge. Sri Narada Muni said, O living entity, all good fortune unto you. Just see your father and mother. All your friends and relatives are overwhelmed with grief because of your passing away. Because you died untimely, the balance of your lifetime still remains. Therefore, you may re-enter your body and enjoy the remainder of your life, surrounded by your friends and relatives. Accept the royal throne and all the opulences given by your father. So Narada Muni seems to be saying that, okay, so this is some untimely death. So there's still some time, Shesha, some balance is there. So you can come back, balance of your Ayu. So you can come back and enjoy royal throne. The Jiva says, by the mystic power of Narada Muni, the living entity re-entered his dead body for a short time and spoke in reply to Narada Muni's request. He said, according to the result of my fruitive activities, I, the Jiva, transmigrate from one body to another, sometimes going to the species of the demigods, sometimes to the species of lower animals, sometimes among the vegetables, sometimes to the human species. Therefore, in which birth were these my mother and father? No one is actually my mother and father. How can I accept these two people as my parents? Just some time back, the boy had died. So once he died and left his body, now this is the real state. The state is, in which birth were these my mother and father? No one is actually my mother and father, meaning there is no one specific mother and father. So how can I accept these people? Like just anybody. They can be any, they could have been anybody. They're just two people. How can I accept these two people as my parents? Here it is made clear that the jiva enters a material body that is like a machine created by the five gross elements of material nature and the three subtle elements. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, there are two separate identities called inferior and superior natures, which both belong to the Supreme Lord. According to the results of a living entity's fruitive actions, he is forced to enter the material elements in different types of bodies. This time, the living entity was supposed to have been the son of Maharaj Citraketu and Queen Kritadyuti, because according to the laws of nature, he had entered a body made by the king and queen. Actually, however, he was not their son. The living entity is the son of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And because he wants to enjoy this material world, the Supreme Lord gives him a chance to enter various bodies. So we are not anybody's son, we are not anybody's husband, we are not anybody's wife, we are not anybody's children. We are only the son of the Supreme Person of Godhead. The living entity has no true relationship with the material body he gets from his material father and mother. He has no true relationship. The real relationship is he is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, but he is allowed to go through different bodies. It's like, if you're going from one place to another, we might take a bus, we might take a auto, we might take a, some other vehicle, but those vehicles are, what relevance have those vehicles to us? It's just that they are helping our movement, that's all. The body created by the so-called father and mother actually has nothing to do with its so-called creators. Therefore, the living entity flatly denied that Maharaj Citraketu and his wife were his father and mother. So he denied it, saying that, no, how can they be my father? In which life were they my father and mother? They're actually anyway not my real father and mother. In this material world, which advances like a river that carries away the living entity, all people become friends, relatives, enemies in due course of time. They also act neutrally, they mediate, they despise one another, they act in many other relationships. Nonetheless, despite these various transactions, no one is permanently related. It is our practical experience in this material world that the same person who is once a friend today becomes one's enemy tomorrow. Our relationships as friends or enemies, family, men or outsiders, are actually the results of our different dealings. Citraketu Maharaj was lamenting for his son who was now dead, but you could have considered the situation otherwise. This living entity, you could have thought, was my enemy in my last life, and now, having appeared as my son, is prematurely leaving just to give me pain and agony. Why should he not consider his dead son his former enemy and instead of lamenting, be jubilant because of an enemy's death? It's called out-of-box thinking. As said in Bhagavad Gita, Prakrite Kriyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvashaha. Actually, everything is happening because of our association with the modes of nature. Therefore, one who is my friend today in association with the mode of goodness may be my enemy tomorrow in the association of modes of passion and ignorance. As the modes of nature work in illusion, we accept others as friends, enemies, sons, or fathers in terms of the reactions of different dealings under different conditions. It's just karma phala, that's all, nothing else. So, Prabhupada is saying, why can't we look at it as karma phala? Why can't we look at it that the person who gave me pain must have been my enemy in my last life? Hmm. Just as gold and other commodities are continuously transferred from one place to another in due course of purchase and sale, so the jiva, as a result of his fruitive activities, wanders throughout the entire universe, being injected into the various bodies in different species of life by one kind of father after another. It's already been explained that Citraketu's son was his enemy in a past life and had now appeared as his son, just to give him more severe pain. Indeed, the ultimate untimely death of the son caused severe lamentation for the father. One may put forth the argument, if the king's son was his enemy, how could the king have so much affection for him? In answer, the example is given that when someone's wealth falls into the hands of his enemy, the money becomes the enemy's friend. Then the enemy can use it for his own purposes. Indeed, he can even use it to harm its previous owner. Therefore, the money belongs neither to the one party nor to the other. The money is always money, but in different situations, it can be used as an enemy or a friend. As explained in the Bhagavad Gita, it is not by any father or mother that the living entity is given his birth. The living entity is a completely separate identity from the so-called father and mother. By the laws of nature, the living entity is forced to enter the semen of a father and be injected into the womb of the mother. He is not in control of selecting what kind of father he will accept. Prakrite Kriyamanani. The laws of nature force him to go to different fathers or and mothers, just like a consumer commodity that is purchased and sold. Therefore, the so-called relationship of father and son is an arrangement of Prakriti or nature. It has no meaning and therefore it is called illusion. The same living entity sometimes takes shelter of an animal father and mother and sometimes a human father and mother. Sometimes he accepts a father and mother among the birds, sometimes a demigod. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lada Peach. Harassed life after life by the laws of nature, the living entity wanders throughout the entire universe in different planets and different species of life. Somehow or other, if he is fortunate enough, he comes in touch with a devotee who reforms his entire life. See, we are so fortunate that we came in touch with Srila Prabhupada through his books. And Srila Prabhupada reformed our entire life. And this is true for so many devotees. Either it was directly Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada's disciples, other devotees in ISKCON, and so on and so forth. Key thing is that Krishna consciousness reforms our life, entire life, not part of our life. It should reform our entire life. That is the potency of devotion. It's only because we resist the reformation that it doesn't happen. It's by our will that we don't reform completely. Otherwise, the process is naturally is going to reform our entire life. Then the living entity goes back home, back to Godhead. Because without reformation of our whole life, of every aspect of our life, we can't go back to Godhead. Janame janame sabe pita mata paya, Krishna guru nahi mile bhajahariye. So in all lives, janame janame, sabe pita mata paya, everyone will get a father and mother, be it human, animal, tree, or demigod. That's not very difficult, but difficulty is to obtain a guru and Krishna. Therefore, the duty of a human being is to capture the opportunity to come in touch with Krishna's representative, the bona fide spiritual master. Under the guidance of the spiritual master, the spiritual father, one can return home back to God. So it's not a big achievement to get a father and mother. That happens to every jiva, irrespective of what form of life it has taken. In every form of life, there is a father and mother. But the difficulty is to obtain Krishna and a guru, a bona fide spiritual master. So one has to be accepted by a bona fide spiritual master, and under his guidance, one can return home back to God. A few living entities are born in human species, others are born in animals. Although both are living entities, their relationships are impermanent. An animal may remain in the custody of a human being for some time, and then the same animal may be transferred to the possession of other human beings. Like like somebody has a pet, or somebody has some previously, like animals which they then used to sell, and so on and so forth. As soon as the animal goes away, the former proprietor no longer has a sense of ownership. As long as the animal is in his possession, he certainly has an affinity for it. But as soon as the animal is sold, the affinity is lost. Aside from the fact that the soul transmigrates from one body to another, even in this life, the relationships between living entities are impermanent. The son of Citraketu was named Harsha Shoka, jubilation and lamentation. The living entity is certainly eternal, but because he is covered by a temporary dress, the body, his eternity is not observed. The embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age. Thus, the bodily dress is impermanent. The living entity, however, is permanent. So, when we move from boyhood to youth to old age, the bodily dress is changing. So, it is impermanent. But the jiva is permanent. As an animal is transferred from one owner to another, the living entity who was the son of Citraketu, lived as his son for some time. But as soon as he was transferred to another body, the affectionate relationship was broken. As stated in the example given in the previous verse, when one has a commodity in his hands, he considers it his. But as soon as it is transferred, it becomes someone else's commodity. Then one no longer has a relationship with it. He has no affection for it, nor does he lament for it. Or this is how it has to be. No longer relationship, so there should not be any affection, there should not be any lamentation. These all, things that we know. There is nothing new in what we are reading. Problem is application of this knowledge. And we find it difficult to apply this knowledge because of our affection, attachment, which is called illusion. So we have to come out of this illusion. Even though one living entity becomes connected with another because of a relationship based on bodies that are perishable, the living entity is eternal. Actually, it is the body that is born or lost, not the living entity. One should not accept that the living entity takes birth or dies. The living entity has no relationship with so-called fathers and mothers. As long as he appears as the son of a certain father and mother, as a result of his past karma, he has a connection with the body given by that father and mother. And of course, with that, there is some responsibility. Thus, he falsely accepts himself as their son and acts affectionately. After he dies, however, the relationship is finished. Under these circumstances, one should not be falsely involved with the jubilation and lamentation. So we only have a relationship with the body that we have got, not with the father and mother. He has a connection with the body given by that father and mother. Thus he falsely accepts himself as their son and acts affectionately. Falsely. Falsely means temporarily. And also in one sense falsely, because Atma has no relationship with any specific father and mother. All Atmas have only one relationship. They're all servants of Krishna. That's all. When the living entity lives within the material world, he falsely thinks that he is the body, although actually he is not. His relationship with his body and his so-called father and mother are false, illusory conceptions. These illusions continue as long as one is not enlightened about the situation of the jiva, meaning till we come to understand that we are the Atma, we are not this body, and all these relationships are bodily, connection with the bodily relationships. So till we come to that understanding, that enlightenment, this illusion will go on. And the more we are in this bodily conception, the more in illusion we are in. And this is also because of our past lives and our progress overall in our journey as the Atma. So we might be little less behind than others. That's all. But most important fact is that we have come to the stage of chanting Hare Krishna means we are glorious. We are glorious jivas compared to so many, innumerable number of jivas who are far from it. So there is no need for a devotee to feel depressed, upset about his lack or uh, about how slow or fast he's making progress. That is why Prabhupada said, somehow just remain in Krishna consciousness. Somehow. And because it depends on our how much how much progress we have achieved in our journey, overall journey in this material life, material world. So if we are more advanced, like many great uh, Vaishnavas, they are so advanced because they are much ahead of us in their journey, and we might be all behind them at different distances from them. And we should understand, okay, that is my current state of progress. It's okay. I will just hang out there and keep moving, inching. And if fortunately we become influenced by some of these, exalted Vaishnavas and suddenly become extremely attracted to their position or want to achieve that much spiritual progress, then we move faster, right? So by some fortune, by some good association, if our desire to make tremendous progress wakes up, then we are very fortunate. Still, otherwise also we are fortunate. If that uh, desire to make speedy progress appears, then we are very fortunate. Otherwise, we are still fortunate. And just we should just make sure that we hang on to the association of devotees, somehow remain amongst devotees and make progress. That's all. Because we're really fortunate souls. The living entity is eternal and imperishable because it actually has no beginning and no end, never takes birth or dies, is the basic principle of all types of bodies. Basic principle of all types of bodies. Meaning, otherwise, why was a body required to be created? This is the Atma is the principle. He is the reason why the body has been created. Yet he does not belong to the bodily category. The living being is so sublime that he is equal in quality to the Supreme Lord. Nonetheless, because he is extremely small, Anu, he is prone to be illusioned by the external energy, and thus he creates various bodies for himself according to his different desires. Though we are in quality equal to the Lord, because quantitatively we are not, we are very small and prone to be illusioned. And then we create different bodies based on our different desires. The entity is Nitya, like the Supreme Lord, but the difference is that the Supreme Lord is the greatest. And no one is equal to or greater than him, Asamurdva. Whereas the living entity is Sukshma or Anu, extremely small. Shastra describes the magnitude of the living entity is 1/10,000 the size of the tip of the hair. Supreme Lord is all pervading, Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham. Relatively, if the living entity is accepted as the smallest, there should be naturally be inquiry about the greatest. The greatest is the Supreme Person of Godhead, and the smallest is the Jiva. Another peculiar characteristic of the Jiva is that he becomes covered by Maya. Atma Maya Gunaihi. He is prone to being covered by the Supreme Lord's illusory energy. Because it is Supreme Lord's illusory energy, it is very formidable. It is very difficult to overcome. The living entity is responsible for his conditioned life in the world. Therefore, he is described as Prabhu. He is described as master because he is the master of his situation. He is the one who has created this conditioned life. If he likes, he can come to this material world. If he likes, he can return home back to Godhead. Because he wanted to enjoy this material world, Supreme Lord gave him a material body through the agents of material energy. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hriddeshe Arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarudani maya. Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart and is directing all the wanderings of the living entities who are seated as on a machine. Yantrarudhani maya, made by Maya. Yantra Aruda is sitting on a yantra, which is the body. Supreme Lord gives the living entity a chance to enjoy in this material world as he desires, not the Lord, as we desire. But the Lord openly expresses his own desire that the living entity give up all material aspirations, fully surrender unto him, and return home back to God at Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Raja. Krishna is openly expressing Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto. That is his desire. Rotting in this material world is our own desire. But Krishna wants us to come to him, to go to him. That is his own desire. Jiva is the smallest, Sukshma. Jiva Goswami says in this connection that the living entity within the body is extremely difficult for material scientists to find, although we understand from authorities that the living entity is within the body. The body is different from the living entity. Okay. For this living entity, no one is dear, nor is anyone unfavorable. He makes no distinction between that which is his own and that which belongs to anyone else. He is one without a second. In other words, he is not affected by friends and enemies, well-wishers, or mischief mongers. He is only an observer, a witness of the different qualities of men. This is the real position of the jiva, that he is just an observer, a witness. But because we are our desire is to enjoy this material world, so we have accepted this body as us. And hence all this dear, not dear, good, bad, ugly, everything is coming. As explained, the jiva has same qualities as the Supreme Lord, but he has them in minute quantities. Whereas the Supreme Lord is all-pervading and great. For the Supreme Lord, there are no friends, enemies, or relatives, for he is completely free from all the disqualifications of ignorance. He is free from all the disqualifications of ignorance that characterize the conditioned souls. Conditioned souls are characterized by ignorance. Thinking that we are the body, that is the ignorance. On the other hand, he is extremely kind and favorable to his devotees. He is not at all satisfied with persons who are envious of his devotees. Not at all satisfied. He is actually very angry. He is upset. Tamam sarvabhuteshu namedveshosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service to me in devotion is a friend in me. I am also a friend in him. Friend to him. And if somebody does anything bad to this friend, I'm not going to keep quiet. Though naturally, I am non-envious. But if somebody harms my devotee, then I don't keep quiet. Supreme Lord has no enemy or friend, but he is inclined toward a devotee. He is inclined. Some few years back, there's somebody who contacted me asking whether the Supreme Lord is partial towards his living entity. And when I said this, saying that he has no enemy or friend, but he's inclined, they were so upset they just went away. They were not able to understand this. Saying that the Supreme Lord can be inclined towards a devotee. No, why? Why should he be inclined to a devotee? And it's just like father and children. Father has many children and is inclined towards those who are well-behaved children. That doesn't mean that he's the enemy of the others. He's still the well-wisher, but he's more inclined towards a devotee who engages in devotional service. Tanaham dushata kruran samsareshu naradhaman kipami ajasram ashubham ashubhan asurishu eva yonishu. Those who are envious and mischievous. Kruran. And they are Naradaman, they are the lowest among men. Kshipami, Ajasram, Ashubham. They are cast by me into the Kshipami, I throw them into the ocean of material existence, into Asuri Shveva, Yonishu, various demoniac species of life. So Krishna, it's his mercy. He is not an enemy of this envious and mischievous, but just to rectify them, he will put them into various demoniac species of life so that they go through so much suffering that eventually they come to their senses. The Lord is extremely antagonistic toward those who are envious of his devotees. Very strong, antagonistic, enemy, like just, yeah, he can do anything to protect his devotee. To protect his devotees, the Lord sometimes has to kill their enemies. So much antagonistic, so much enmity. Antagonistic, what is the meaning of antagonistic? Active opposition or hostility towards someone or something, hostility, inimical. So the Lord becomes like that towards those who are envious of his devotees. To protect his devotees, the Lord sometimes has to kill their enemies. For example, to protect Prahlada, the Lord had to kill his enemy, Hiranyakashipu, but actually, although Hiranyakashipu attained salvation because of being killed by the Lord, since the Lord is a witness of everyone's activities, he witnesses the actions of the enemies of his devotees and is inclined to punish them. In other words, however, he simply witnesses what the living entities do and gives the results of one's sinful or pious actions. So, in one way, he is just giving a result of the activities of the enemy of the devotee. In another way, he is inclined, even if the devotee doesn't call for him, the Lord can come and do the needful. That way is inclined. In this way, I mean, in the way he punishes the wrongdoers, that is not like he is not breaking his rules, so to speak. Right. So he reciprocates accordingly. He simply witnesses and gives them the results according to their actions. But his wanting to protect his devotee is natural. That doesn't have any action reaction correlation. Meaning, what is the action that one should have taken, one should have done for the Lord to protect him? There is nothing like that. It's just a surrender of the jiva, and then there is no consideration of any other action. That one action of surrender to the Supreme Lord is enough for subsequent actions that the Lord will do for the devotee. And it might even seem partial. Like, say, in the case of, like, when the Brahmastras were, Ashwatthama fired the Brahmastra and it came towards the Pandavas. Pandavas did not necessarily call for Krishna's help at that time, but Krishna automatically intervened. So that is his natural response. So in that way, he is inclined. But when he has to punish the asura or somebody who is an enemy of the devotee, he does so. Now he decides to punish whenever the time comes, irrespective whether the devotee asks for it or not. But he punishes according to his rules. So there are two things here. Punishment is not impartial, meaning it's not just Supreme Lord is just doing whatever he wants with the enemies. No, that he will do based on the position of those enemies, the results of their own sinful actions. But his willingness to actually protect the devotee is his free will, as in is his prerogative. He can decide to get involved in a devotee's life at his will. There is no action reaction funda there. So this is why he is inclined. He is inclined towards his devotees. So he can do whatever he thinks is required in a devotee's life without necessarily requiring a corresponding action for it. So that's that's his special mercy towards his devotees, and which is why he is devotee's friend and devotees Teshute. And so Krishna is saying, I am friend in me, I am also friend to him, he is also friend in me. So friendship relationship, that's it, right? And he takes care of his devotees. Okay, so I'll stop here. Any questions, comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah. Can you hear me, Prabhu?
1 second, I'm not. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm just trying to understand this, because on one hand, Krishna is saying Samoham Sarvabhutanam, and then on the other hand, again, is saying that I'm inclined towards devotees, and then I throw people who are inimical
Mm.
to devotees, especially to lower planetary systems. I mean,
No, no,
but if you think of
throwing
it
the
in one,
envious.
yeah,
No, no, he's not
envious.
throwing the ones who are inimical to devotees. He's throwing the envious and mischievous. They can just
Hmm.
be like normal asuras, normal
Okay.
bad people. He's saying they're going to go
Hmm.
into demoniac species. That's a result of their actions.
Okay, yeah, I mean, just like government, right? I mean, if anyone criminals, they'll put them
Yeah,
into jail
yeah,
just to correct their behavior. I mean, it's not
correct.
nothing wrong in that sense that,
Correct.
and then any good citizen, they try to reward them or award
Yeah,
them with some medals
yeah,
and all. But
yeah,
for Krishna, both the actions are absolute in the sense that,
yeah,
it's not he's not envious, but he's like just to correct them, he has to do it. Otherwise, there is no
yeah,
remedy for them also.
yeah.
Right? So, is that
Mm.
how we should
Yeah, yeah.
interpret
So
this?
he is merciful.
Yeah.
He is merciful
Yeah.
to both, to all jivas, because he sees
Mm,
them as his children. And so the laws of nature. So what we need to understand is, in general, the laws of
mm.
nature work. And the laws
Yes.
of nature works in a way that somebody who's done bad will get bad, somebody who's done good will get good. This is for
Mm.
general jivas.
Yes.
But for devotees, he goes beyond these laws.
He takes a step ahead.
Yeah, he does. He
Okay.
takes, he takes prerogative. He goes beyond the rules, so to speak, to do things
Right.
for devotees, right? Because
Mm,
that is because of their love for him and his love for them. He just doesn't care for any kind of material laws to guide that
mm,
interaction. But for everybody else, for all other jivas, it's just the material laws which work. And when Krishna is saying I throw them, it is just not that he's personally coming to throw them, right?
Yeah, I mean, the
It's just
laws
his,
of nature are
yeah,
working automatically.
that's all. Yeah, that's all. But for his devotees, he's especially inclined.
Okay. So he acts beyond the laws,
Yeah,
because
yes,
he won't
yes.
leave them to
Yeah,
subject to the laws of
yeah,
nature.
because he's so told, no, name bhakta pranashyati.
Mm. Yes.
Sarvadharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam rajam tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayashyami. So all these are special actions Krishna is doing
Mm.
beyond the normal laws of nature. Right, it
Right.
goes beyond, because there isn't any other rule which says if you do this all these will get eradicated except surrender to Krishna, which means that one becomes a devotee.
Yeah,
And
because
for
I
a
mean, just you gave an example. I mean, it's quite obvious that it makes people more envious because Krishna is taking care of his devotees, special care of
yeah,
his devotees,
yeah,
and
why
then
should they be
and then
envious? They
people
should
who are
they
already envious of Krishna, they become more envious now because he's ignoring
Yeah,
God is ignoring us.
God is not ignoring. God is not ignoring. God is giving you whatever you deserve, but for a
Yes,
devotee he
yes.
gives more than what he deserves.
Yeah, now I'm just
That's
thinking
all.
from layman's perspective,
Yeah,
the psychology,
yeah, sure. But yeah,
Okay.
Prabhupada says he's inclined, he's extremely antagonistic to those people who are inimical. So yeah, that's what
Mm.
it is. We repeat whatever Prabhupada said. Yeah. Yeah, Shashank Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, bro. Pranam, bro.
Hare Krishna. Pranam.
Prabhu, even I have same doubt in that sloka. Like, last line it says, Maitetu Chapyaham,
Hmm.
where Krishna is inclined towards his devotee. But
No,
even
no, no.
though we
That
are
verse is not. Okay. Mai teshu teshu.
Te
Okay. Okay.
Chapyaham,
Hmm.
so when we are facing anarthas, Prabhu, like in our life, so here
Hmm.
Krishna confirmed that he's inclined. Then during our anarthas also, where we are
Hmm.
stuck,
Hmm. Okay. Hmm.
why we will be still facing, Prabhu? I mean, of course,
Yeah.
we are doing bhakti,
Okay. Good
everything we
question.
are putting.
Hmm.
But
Okay. Yeah. Good. Intelligent question. Yeah. Anybody wants to answer this? So what is Shashank Prabhu's question? Shashank Prabhu's question is, Krishna is inclined towards his devotees. Then why are we still suffering from anarthas? Is that correct?
yeah, Prabhu, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So anybody wants to try? I've answered this multiple times, but yeah, let's see if somebody gets.
Hare Krishna, bro.
Yeah.
Can I just
Good, good,
share?
good.
So, my thinking, or what is my understanding, is basically uh, it is a process of purification, and because we are not completely pure, still
Hmm.
anarthas influence us in our actions and the way how we take up things,
Hmm.
and hence that has its influence, and it is only to cleanse us and purify us. It has
No, no,
its
no.
influence.
Shashank Prabhu's question is saying that, see, I have anartha. Krishna is inclined towards me. Why can't he just take it off? Why can't he
Right,
just
Prabhu.
like
So
remove it
that
off?
is because we still need to be pure. We still need to
No, no,
have that.
understand, understand. If he takes it off, he will become pure. Taking it off
Hmm,
means that making us pure.
hmm. Okay.
Krishna wants
Is
to
that
teach
because of
us. Okay.
previous karma phala, and
No, no,
that
that's his
those things
question.
need to.
That's his
Hmm,
question. Saying that why is Krishna not taking it all away at one shot?
okay.
Yeah, Chiranjeev Prabhu.
Prabhuji, actually, what I understood is like we have this false ego because of which we are committing all these anarthas.
Hmm, okay. Okay. So see, we have to understand that the thing is, we, if we 100% want all our anarthas to go, if we actually sincerely desire our anarthas to go, the anarthas will go, and they will go very quickly. And this very quickly is a relative term in the sense that the thousands of lifetimes we have taken to accumulate those anarthas, and those anarthas can go in like a tick, in one click, they can go. Okay. But the only reason actually, and the anarthas actually go, right? But we still have some material inclinations. We are not completely at that stage where we are ready to give up. So, one is our own desire. So, some people want to retain anarthas, Krishna will not interfere with them. Now, there are certain pure devotees who might want their anarthas to go, and then Krishna intervenes in their life. And the taking away process is bit painful. So he also has to see whether the devotee is ready to go through that grind. Mm. So it might not be very smooth. It might not be easy to deal with for the devotee, because the removal has to happen in such a way that the devotee does not want to go back to that stage again. So it will create some, and also various things are there here. So, for example, there has to be realizations that a devotee will get when he's going through this cleaning process in such a way that it will be helpful for him to teach others. So there are many things that Krishna actually accomplishes when he is taking away our anarthas, which he does. Okay. But it depends on how intense our desire is. Based on that, how fast our anarthas are going depends on that. Okay. And it will not happen like a dream, because of our conditioning. Our conditioning is such that actually we have to go through this in a way that we don't want it again. We have to go through this cleaning process in a way that we are convinced that we don't want it again. Because, see, one of the things we should understand is the anarthas might go, but because we have free will, we might again want the anarthas back. So now Krishna has to remove those anarthas in a way that our free will also doesn't want it back. So we go through a little bit of little bit of difficulty, so to speak, as our anarthas are going. It's not a smooth process, because it also has to make us future safe. It has to protect us in the future also. When many years back, almost 10 years back, when I was going through, a lot of suffering, then I was actually thinking about this. Then I thought, okay, if Krishna removes my problems, maybe I'll forget. Maybe I'll forget that the way I should behave. Maybe I'll become complacent. Maybe I'll again do the mistakes. So there can be so many possibilities. So basically, simple way to say is I should not be misusing my free will in the future. In that way, Krishna will clean the anarthas. So sometimes it takes time, sometimes it takes pain, but then once it gets cleaned, then that's it, right? Like no more worry of it coming back. Is that okay, Shashank Prabhu?
Yeah, Prabhu. Like first 2 points I understood, Prabhu. Like one is intense desiring, and second, Krishna will clean such that in future we should not misuse our free will.
Yeah, we
These
will
are the
not come
two
back.
will
Correct.
not come back. 2 points, correct.
Yeah.
Then, if in the second point, as you said, it could be painful also
No,
during the
normally it
process.
is painful.
Painful. Okay. Then, is this considered as punishment, like where Krishna
No,
will
it's
heal
love.
for the second stage?
It's love for the devotee. It's like parents taking care of their children. Child is doing some nonsense, parent prevents that child from doing something. Child might be crying, but is that wrong from the parent's perspective? No, it just is love for the child that he is doing it for his own good.
Okay. Thank you.
Karmi people, for Karmi people, non-devotees, Krishna removes through Sade Sati. Are Baba, yes, this is not, no removal happens. It's all, some reduction will happen based on that, too, based on the sincerity. When you go to astrologer says, do this puja, do that puja. First of all, Krishna is not directly involved in that. It's different demigods. And those demigods can reduce your karma phala based on how truly repentant you are. And the whole idea of this punishment is to make us repentant and to make us a better jiva. So if we are becoming a better jiva by sincerely repenting through the prayaschitta process, then yeah, the demigods might take away some part of our karma, but that doesn't purify us. We still will have the propensity to do wrong again. This is the discussion that actually Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadev Goswami have before the discussion of Ajamila and chanting. So Shukadev Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj, why not atonement? So Parikshit Maharaj says that is like an elephant taking bath in the water, coming out and again spraying sand over its whole body. So all this whatever the astrologers say as means to come out, get rid of your suffering is just prayaschitta. It doesn't prevent you from acting sinfully again. So it's useless. And that too, it doesn't give you it's not complete relief. Depends. Could be complete in some cases, but still the propensity to sin will not go. And so we again sin, and so we again accumulate suffering. Anything else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam Mataji.
Prabhu, yeah, Citraketu understood, like, when Narada Muni and Angad Rishi came. Are we human being able to take in that sort of untimely death? I see many, like when you try to preach and tell them this, even if they're little Krishna conscious, they'll become atheist. And then when he answers, kaun se janam hai, which father, which mother, then why do we have Pitra dosha? Then why are we indebted to the Pitras when the relations are all completely lost and gone?
Correct. Yeah.
And
so
Prabhu, and in such a case, in such a case, Prabhu, you can't preach and say, Nai, this is it, because without love, because many a times my mother recently lost a son and a brother. When I tell her, she says, Bina pyar ke, bina bandhan ke, ghar grasti kaise chalti hai? How do you look after your children?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just say it's a soul and finish it off, Prabhu. Can you explain?
Yeah. So few things here, right? See, one is naturally, actually, this topic is discussed multiple places in Bhagavatam also. See, the affection for the child is should not be material. See, we have to understand this, that when we are when we are serving Vaishnavas, we are not serving Vaishnavas because there is some bodily relationship with them, right? We happily serve Vaishnavas just because they are Vaishnavas, because they are servants of Krishna, right? And it should be the same love, same affection, same respect that we should have for all other jivas. This is what Shastra is saying. Shastra is not saying you have some extra affection towards your children. That is we have created, and we are suffering because of that. Previously, what was it? Yeah, it was like you treat your son or daughter, you have a little bit more responsibility towards them because they are born in your house. So you have more responsibility towards them than compared to somebody in somebody else's house with whom you don't have any relationship. So the only extra thing that you get is responsibility. Okay, but the love and affection that one should show should be equal, whether it's their own children or somebody else's children. This is what Shastra expects. So have the same love to everybody. And that is the right, proper, community, society. That is the mood in which one has to live in a society. But today we have become so self-centered that we think that we should love only our children to an extent that we should even like hate other children or push them away or give them trouble. So self-centered we are. This is craziness. This is not human behavior. This is animal behavior. Animals have lower consciousness. When if the animal's child is there and somebody else comes to attack, he will bark, he will bite, he will do whatever to protect. Right? But human beings have to understand a little bit more. And unfortunately, our Kali Yuga, all this is gone. This understanding is gone. Unfortunately, so we think that we are expected to be overly attached to our children, which we are not. Which is that it is just our situation that we have created for ourselves. And when somebody loses, like I said, in this case also, Angira, first time he came and didn't advise anything to Citraketu. He just gave him a solution to his problem and went away. Second time, when he still couldn't learn from that, he came and he's directly advising. And Narada Muni goes one more step. Why I should speak the philosophy? Let me make his son only speak philosophy. It will be more easy for him to understand and accept, which is what happened. Everybody was just very instantly, they just came out of their lamentation because that boy whom they were thinking is their son, their relative, whatever, blah, and he said, I don't know who you are. That straightforward, statements coming from that jiva, whom they considered theirs, who was declining to refusing to be their son or relative or whatever, put them into their senses. So sometimes we should not speak. We should speak through these stories. And sometimes some people, most people we should understand, saying that because they are so materially attached, any kind of, instant change in them we can't expect. So especially when some very difficult situations are there, my preference is to just be able to build a relationship with that jiva, with that suffering person, so that tomorrow he can understand the reality of life. Not try to advise them at that stage because they are not in a stage to receive any instruction, any gyan at that time. So just we should become friends with them. We should actually show real compassion. What is the compassion? Is, oh, this jiva is so much in illusion that he or she is suffering so much. So I want to help that jiva. So let me gain trust sincerely by, being there for that person at that time. And then eventually in some time when time is ripe, speak to them and help them out and bring them to the real knowledge. That's what I would do. And which is the reason why we are expected to know this knowledge from the beginning. This Atma Jnana, everybody needs to know. So that Dhiras Tatra Namoyati, so that we won't lament in course of time. At least my first thought that comes to my mind is first devotees have to stop doing this. Then we can go and help others. If devotees are only lamenting on the bodily platform for things, then, what can we go and teach others? First, we have to come. We have to learn. Then we can teach others. Okay. Anything else?
What about Pitradosha, Prabhuji? Then why do we have Pitradosha?
Pitradosha.
Why
Yeah,
do we
Pitradosha.
inhibit it to them? Then why are
Yeah.
we independent?
Yeah. So see this, which is why I said there is a responsibility. I spoke about this responsibility, right? So when as children, our parents, etc., as human beings, we are given responsibility in a cultured society. So Varnashrama gives responsibilities. Now, idea of this, what are the idea of this responsibility? The idea of this responsibility is to actually help that jiva make spiritual progress. Right? So that responsibility continues because we are indebted to that father and mother for having brought us into this world and taken care of us. They took care of us, right? So we are indebted to them, and as a reciprocation towards that, we have obligations. It's a very simple thing. It's a cultured human life. In a cultured society, when somebody does something good for you, you are indebted, and you are obligated towards them. It's the same thing. That is social intercourse.
Yes, Prabhu, because
Yeah, let me explain completely. So for one who is already in the platform of the soul, one who is already on the platform of the soul, they don't need all this, which is why Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Raja, or Devarshi Bhutaptanadam Pitranam Na Kinkaro Nayam Rinicha Rajan Sarvatmanaya Sharanam Sharanyam Gato Mukundam Paryartakritam. One who is surrendered to the Supreme Lord, he doesn't have any of these obligations. But this is for normal human beings, for them to understand that they can't just live like animals, that they have certain obligations, certain responsibilities to take care, and indirectly these responsibilities are only helping their forefathers or whoever to make spiritual progress. That's the beauty of Varnashrama. Whatever Varnashrama does, it looks like social responsibility externally, but in the background, it is actually helping spiritual progress of the jiva. Okay.
So, Prabhuji, the responsibility comes because there is an attachment, because there is a relation, and even after that it continues because we are indebted. To the others we aren't. So that is why the attachment comes, the Prabhu, because we take care, we look after. I don't know. I have practically failed my examination in this theory, so I will not comment, Prabhu.
Okay.
Like
So
after
we have
seeing
to
two untimely death, I literally failed. Like with after hearing so much also from very
see, but
exalted devotees, even from
but
you.
one thing, Mataji, we have to understand that anyway, when time has come, somebody has to go, somebody will go. I mean, if you lament also, we are not going to prevent it.
Fair
If you don't
enough.
lament also, you're not
Yeah.
going to prevent
Fair.
it, right? So
Then the word karma then becomes very prominent. No, Prabhu, time aa gaya, karma aa gaya, destiny aa gaya. Then so
obviously,
many of
karma
them say
is
like all this. Yes, that is.
karma rules. Obviously, karma rules, right? I mean, which is why
Yeah.
which is why Bhagavad Gita is saying become responsible. Do responsible things so that you don't have to go through these kind of sufferings. So when the sufferings happen, we have to understand that we have been irresponsible at some life, in some lifetime. We've been irresponsible, did something nasty, so we are suffering. Right? So whether we have affection or we don't have affection, it's like that fire, it's not going to see whether it's a child or an adult, right? Fire burns. That's all. So if you have affection towards somebody, then be responsible also. Live a responsible life. See, these are all lower stages, which is why I'm saying the first at the bottom is animalistic life. Above that is slightly human life. And like Prabhupada actually explains this, it's like a child. Child, where a child life is animalistic, meaning they don't know anything apart from self-centeredness, being self-centered, which is animalistic life, right? And they want chocolate because they want chocolate. They want toy because they want toy. They're not bothered about who else is there, who else wants what, because that is the animalistic consciousness when they're a child. And as they start growing up, slowly, steadily, they will start understanding. And as they make real progress, they will understand, okay, I should not be self-centered. My interest should be wider. I should not just be bothered about myself. I should take care of others. This is normal progress in cultured social life. This is what is expected in a society. Right? And then we come to the stage of saying, I am Atma, and so Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, right? Then we look at the world differently. But yeah, those jivas have to slowly, gradually make progress to come to an understanding saying that, see, with affection comes responsibility. So let us be responsible, at least today, in what we are doing. Then that affection will not cause pain. Of course, that affection will eventually cause pain, whether timely or untimely, when we lose somebody. But that is inevitable. That is the law of this nature, of this world. But at least if we were responsible, then untimely things will not happen, like father dying when parents are there, the children dying when parents are there. These kind of things won't happen. If we are responsible along with having our affection towards. So, which is why that responsibility now has to be in every action that we do, because we don't know what is which result. What is the result of this karma which resulted in a son passing away when mother or father is still there? What is that karma? So first we have to understand that if we are really concerned about stopping these kind of things, then we have to understand what kind of karma could have created that, could have caused that, and then we make sure that we become responsible so that we don't do that kind of karma. But I don't think anybody is really thinking so much, right? For them, it is just sentimental, aise kaise ho sakta hai, how can this happen? Because we did that, we did whatever we did. This we have to understand as devotees. We can't go and tell people, but I'm saying that responsibility also has to be taken. If you don't want such untoward incidences, then we also have to become responsible. Then we will not have to face such situations. Okay, anyway, I think I've spoken enough, so we'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyo Patitanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai, Samveta Gaura Bhakta ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam to everybody. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.